Hello everyone, welcome to the Q&A. My name is Daniel and I'm from Ireland. We're going to try and answer some of your questions that you've sent in to us from our perspective. So I'm a student here. I came to Gotland in August last year to study a Master's in Sustainable Management. So we're going to answer your questions as best we can from our perspective.
Yeah, hi, I'm Marcus. I'm from America, but Sweden originally. I study game design and programming, and I'm a first-year student here.
Hello, I'm Carolina. As well as Daniel, I study sustainable management here in campus Gotland, and I am from the Czech Republic. And yeah, we will try to answer the questions.
All right. Our first question is, what is the climate of Gotland?
The climate of Gotland, it's actually not too dissimilar from my home in Dublin, in Ireland. It's kind of temperate, so it's not too hot, not too cold. Being an island, the winter does bring some cold. This winter was especially bad. We had a lot of snow, so bring your layers for the winter months. Yeah, it was, but then now we're in May and the sun is shining, it's warm.
And as well, if you are coming from the Central Europe, you should account for the fact that there is no sea and it's super chilly here. So even though the temperature could be 10 degrees, you would feel like it's 4 degrees because the perceptual feeling is so different.
All right. How easy/hard is it to find a job as an international student? Is it possible to find part-time work if you do not speak Swedish?
So yeah, I don't speak Swedish, and I was lucky enough to not be kind of needing to necessarily search for a job, but some of my friends, in fact, two of our friends are actually working for the university here. In general, I think it really does help to have some basic Swedish, and if you're staying during the summer, there's definitely summer jobs that you don't need to speak the language.
But all in all, during the semester, it's not really possible to find a job here. Also because all the restaurants are closed, and these are the places you would need a knowledge of the local language.
And from my experience, I do know that Swedish is quite important to a lot of the jobs here, as there's a lot of old Swedish, and not a lot of them speak English, especially if you're working in the service industry. What are the necessary things to be bought after reaching Visby for staying here?
Yeah, that was a funny question. The necessary things, I guess it just depends on what kind of accommodation you have. So if you have a fully furnished apartment, you won't need to buy anything really. Like I literally bought some candles, and that was pretty much it. Our house, I live with Carolina, and our house comes with everything we needed. So that's kind of important to know if you're going to a fully furnished house or not. And from my experience, most of the accommodation is fully furnished.
Because they know that the students need to travel quite long distance to get here, so they are trying to help us as much as they can with the furniture and all this stuff.
I definitely recommend getting a bike if you don't have one. The city is quite easy to reach any point by bike, so it's probably one of the best purchases I've made while here. For game design and programming bachelor program, are the theoretical parts of studies intense? If yes, are they going to be more intense than the practical parts? I'd say no. I'd say that there's a lot of opportunity to go into the theories and study them as much as you want, but we mostly focus on learning the practical studies, and also just getting the basics down. And it's mostly about, a lot of Sweden is mostly about how you want to make your studies, so you can choose if you want to go the extra mile and study extra stuff, but in general, we're mostly just studying the hows and the how and the why it works. Yeah. What is the absolute first step to make towards securing a place to live in Gotland? Which website to visit or which people to contact? The more information we get, the higher chance we'll have of fixing a place before our studies begin.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The more information you have, the better you can kind of go about things. So for me, the first step, I went to the Rindi website. Rindi is a student nation here in Gotland, and they look after the welfare of the students. And on their website, they have a list of different landlords that students have stayed in previous years and have had good experiences with. So that's where I found my accommodation, and I guess it was the same, Carolina.
Yes.
There's a lot of websites. Gotlandhem.com, for example, is the one that I use to find my accommodation. And then I know there's, the Indie one is probably the best.
And also Block It, I believe, as
Block
well.
It will,
Some of our friends kind of found accommodation on that as well.
And you should also know that if you apply for students' accommodation, you might be on a reserve list for some time, because here are also the students' flats, right?
Yeah.
Some of our friends do live there.
How are the sport possibilities? Is there any sport club / activities arranged by the university? If not, do you know if there's a local basketball / football team for women? I know that there's, I think, a few sports clubs here. I think there's a hockey club, and I think there's a football club.
I think there is. Our friend was actually part of this football club.
Yeah, it was
and also a
outside.
basketball club. One of our friends was part of the Visby Ladies. That was the name of
Oh,
their
that's
basketball
right.
team.
I know that they have several martial arts here. They have like boxing and I think taekwondo and another one. There's a lot of stuff to do around here as long as you look for it. The university itself doesn't organize anything though. I think it's mostly student led. Because those are both clubs led by students.
Yeah. Rindy have kind of started doing things as well in terms of like different sports activities and stuff. And you know, you're surrounded by nature here, so you know you can go out and walks or runs and that sort of stuff. And then there's gyms as well. Caroline, you're in a gym.
Yeah. There are a couple gyms around Wisby. You would get a student's discount but you need to get a membership because very often you can't get like single entry, or it would be super expensive. But it's quite cheap if you would get a membership card.
Campus Gotland being on an island in the Baltic Sea, does it make it very quiet during the academic year? Yes. It's a ghost town here sometimes. I think I've walked through like all of town once without seeing anyone during the winter time. People really like to stay indoors then.
Yeah.
And since it's a tourist island, there's almost, I wouldn't say that there's no one here, but there's not a lot of people who are out and about until it's like a Friday night, basically.
Yeah, and as well, many places are closed during January and February. So yeah, there is not that much to do during these months, to be honest.
Do you have any groups for new students on Facebook or any other social media? I know for Game we have a few pages. We have just like Game in all caps, which is just like any alumni or any student part of it now. And then we have GGS, which is Gotland Game Students, which is another Facebook page where we have like the student organization that arranges events and helps out. As well as we have a buddy page for this year. I'm not sure about what you guys
So
have.
for us, we had a MSc in Sustainable Management Facebook group that they told us about, and we could join before coming to ask some questions and things to previous students or current students. And I think it could just be simply about reaching out to your course director and seeing if they have a specific course-led program, because in our case we did, so that was really helpful.
Is the student population on Gotland diverse? I'd say yes. It's about 60% Swedes and 40% other people.
Yeah.
Internationals,
Is what I'd say, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think so. Because here are 3 programs fully taught in English, and more are going to be open next year.
Yeah.
I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least in our case, since we all study English bachelors and masters, you'd say it's much more international. I mean, a lot of the courses here are Swedish, however, so there'd be a much higher percentage in those courses if you're studying in a Swedish language.
Yeah.
Is there a vibrant student life in Visby?
Yeah, so I think in Gotland it's what you make of it. You know, you can't be kind of relying on like, you're not in a big city, you're not in like a big place where you can kind of go to big warehouses or different kind of massive parties and stuff like that. It's just not that kind of a vibe. Instead, it's like, from my experience, we've been going to lots of dinners, potlucks, you know, having parties in people's houses, and there is kind of things that you can go to in terms of, there's a club in the city centre called Munkin, and then Rindy also have parties on Friday nights.
And Wednesdays.
Oh, on Wednesdays.
Yeah, they do
okay.
like bar nights on Wednesdays. And then there's about every month there's like a student sitting, which is like kind of a party with a theme. So we've had like apocalypse sitting, we had like a Halloween thing.
Yeah.
They have a lot, like a Valentine's, other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, since the island is quite small, you get very close with your classmates, so you can find friends super easily, and you can do stuff together. So I wouldn't be worried about that.
What would be the required amount of money to be carried for the expenditure till we open a bank account in Sweden?
I think it just depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from within the EU, I don't think it's necessary to open up a bank account. I didn't personally, because everything is paid for with cards, so it was fine. I didn't need to. If you're coming from outside the EU, it could be helpful. In fact, it's helpful to avoid the card transaction fees and stuff to open up an account. One of my friends opened an account with SEB, and 'cause they have a easy policy, an easy kind of cheap bank account, and so yeah, it just depends where you're coming from.
It's great if you set up a account with SAB or another thing, because then you can use the Swedish banking, like Swish.
Swish, that's
you can
really
swish people
helpful,
money,
yeah.
which is really useful.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I came here, I didn't carry more than 500 kroner on me at a time normally,
Which
And-
equates to about 50 euro-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would also ask in the bank in your country if they deduct any fee for the payments that you make abroad. It's a good question to ask.
Is it easy to make friends in Visby, and is it social for international students? What is campus social life like? I'd say it's quite easy to make friends here. I mean, I made my first couple of friends within the first couple of days. I think we met up. We planned to meet up as soon as we all got on the island, since we had contact before we got to school. And in general, there's so much to do at school, and there's so many events to go to, and different clubs and activities, and since you'll be spending a lot of time with your friends in your studies, I'd say it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And as well, you will probably live with some of your classmates. You will live with people who also study at the university, so it's very easy to meet people and make friends.
As the summer tourist season closes down for the winter, how are the restaurants shopping open? How are the restaurants shopping open / available?
Let's say that almost everything was just about to close when we arrived in the end of August. But there are some cafes that you can go to. You can study there, or there are also some restaurants open during the winter. But also these restaurants are also closed for like 1 or 2 months during the winter because Swedes take holiday. So there are not that many things to do. But then in the beginning of April or in the middle of April, everything like just slowly starts opening, and you can experience some of the local cuisine.
And some of the really nice cafes, they stay open as well. There's a few cute ones like Café, Fika, and like a few kind of nice cutesy ones, H10 and stuff. They open up throughout the year. And in terms of like shopping and stuff, you still have like H&M and like all the supermarkets and like Tiger, like these different kind of clothes shops and little bits type things. So in terms of shopping, you'll be fine. But yeah, in terms of like Visby has supposedly the highest number of restaurants per capita in all of Sweden. So that's kind of, like most of them will close during the winter.
How long does it take to reach Stockholm, and what kind of transportations? You could either fly, which would take like 45 minutes maybe. What I've done on several occasions is I've just walked to the ferry, which is about 3 hours to go to Närreshamn, and then you take a bus from there to Stockholm, which takes about an hour. And it's quite easy to purchase, and I think now they've just recently started doing like a student website for it.
Oh, cool.
So it costs only about like 200, 300 kroner for the whole trip, which is quite nice. It'd take about 4 hours and then 1 hour by plane. Or you could drive if you have a car, but that's a lot. You'd have to bring it on the ferry. What makes studying on Gotland different than studying elsewhere in Sweden? Well, I can tell you. I used to study in Jönköping University, which is kind of far away from here. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's all that different. I'd just say that there's a lot less people, and it's kind of, it's, Gotland is old, and it's kind of a beautiful walk around. I mean, it's very scenic for when you're inside the city, and since you'll be spending most of your time in the university or close to the university, it's very nice to be around here. There's a lot of old traditions that happen. There's like the medieval week where people dress up and they walk around and they sell a bunch of medieval stuff. There's a lot of tradition here.
Yeah, and but generally, like since we all are students, we live on a student's budget. That means that like it doesn't differ that much from other student cities. I would say maybe you have more things to do there, but when it comes to students' budget, it applies to everyone. I would say.
Please let us know how to find houses for rent, as myself and a few other students are planning to do a sharing. For that, I'd recommend Blockus.
Blocket, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's bloket.se.
Yeah, it's like the Swedish eBay, and you'll find places where you can kind of, with multiple people, you can try to find a place. You send them emails, explain your situation, and people will hopefully respond. I don't know where else to go though.
Yeah, I think that's the main one that I know of.
What is the attitude of the local population?
The attitude. From what I've experienced, they've been very welcoming and receptive to internationals. They're kind of excited by the prospect of these different people coming from around the world to their little island in Visby, and so that's cute, and that's been really nice. They've been encouraging us to kind of go to local things, like there's a sauna just down by the water, or there's these different things that they're like, you should totally get engaged with, and you should try and mingle and stuff. So that's been nice. I've had a nice experience.
A lot of people they want people here, and they're very willing to speak English, even though they may not be very good at it. And they'll accept any like really terrible Swedish too.
Yeah.
They're quite funny. Is it difficult or costly to have items that won't fit on the plane shipped to your residence? For me, this would be camping gear primarily.
For Gotland, it's the same as the rest of Sweden. So just because you're on an island, you don't have to pay extra. It's the same as like international shipping to Sweden. So whatever that price is. And then I guess it just depends on where you're coming from in the postal system in your country. Because for me, I know it is quite expensive. But Caroline, you've sent a few things by post.
Yeah, actually, it depends because there is some given tariff for each country, and it depends how much kilos it does have. But generally, it's quite expensive. But of course, if you would send it like once or twice a year, it's worth it to get your what was it?
Camping gear
here.
Yeah. What is the best part of your study life in Campus Gotland?
I would say people, probably, because we are a really nice group of our course is quite small, so we are quite close, and all the people are really nice. We can organize so many things together, so this is something that I really enjoy. And you can't be alone here, you're on the island, so it's quite important.
Yeah, it is such a cliche, but it is the people kind of that make this experience. Other things like tranquility and the calmness, and that kind of time to just sort of find what it is that you're interested in. For me, it was sustainability, and so being here, I could really like put all my energy into it and really work at it and learn as much as I could. And being surrounded by like-minded people really helped that experience.
For me, it's probably the scenery. So I really like reading and running, and it's really nice to just go outside or run somewhere, and you can kind of run around the wall, and you can see all the old like buildings and cathedrals and stuff, and it's just like really fun to explore. This place has a ton of history, and it's really it's a beautiful place. What is your student night life like?
Yeah, I think we kind of answered that a little bit before.
It's mostly what you make of it. If you
Yeah.
go out with friends, you can go out basically any night. Otherwise, it's Wednesdays and Fridays at the student pub, and then whatever sittings that they do, which are usually take place at the student pub. And they're doing a ball soon, a spring ball.
Yeah.
Spring ball, and there was also the fall ball when we arrived here in the beginning of the fall semester.
And there's also the Swedish like lamning.
Yeah.
Like it's like a week of just like partying and getting to know people, which is the easiest time to just like meet your friends. I met like most of my friends during that first week, and I still
I'd definitely advise you to sign up to Lamning when you come to Gotland. So it's you join Rindy and then you join Lamning, and it's just like a freshers week. That's what we kind of call it back home. And it's where you go, you party, and you do like bizarre games, and it's just fun.
True. Are there a multinational food?
Yeah,
Of course.
I think so. Yeah, there's like I guess Indian, Chinese, sushi, obviously Swedish.
Kebab pizza.
There's like a British pub.
Irish pub?
Is
I
that
got
Irish?
Black
all
Sheep?
ears.
No, that's a British
it's-
pub.
Oh, no, I'm so
It's
sorry.
different. And yeah, there's lots of kind of vegan and vegetarian options. So yeah, Caroline and I, we eat mostly vegetarian, and we've got so many different options here in Visby, which is great. So yeah, there's yeah, as I said, there's so many restaurants here. Yeah, you'll definitely find something that suits your taste.
And as well in the shops, because Swedes really like international cuisine,
Yeah.
so you would find a lot of tacos and halloumi in the shop.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah. What are the religious practices of the locality?
Mm.
I'd say it's tough because Sweden is, I think, the most atheist country out there. I'm not sure.
I think Czech might be even
Really?
more
Yeah.
so.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's
But
not-
it's definitely up there, yeah.
I'm sure that depending on your religion, you can find people who share that. Otherwise, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because for me myself, I'm not that religious, so I didn't particularly go out seeking. But there is a Domkyrkan, which is like a big cathedral in the middle of the city, and that's the Church of Sweden, so kind of a Protestant church. And you can kind of go there and just sit and just admire the beauty of it, regardless of your religion. And
And they have certain church activities too.
and they have they do actual ceremonies, and I know there is so much diversity here, that there must be kind of different religions, but yeah, for me, I'm not too sure.
Does Campus Gotland have a student gym to work out at? Would it or Visby gym have a lot of free weights and a variety of resistance machines to work out with?
There is no gym provided by the university, but there are several gyms around Visby. Some of them are cheaper, some of them are a bit more expensive. For example, I pay 375 per month with a student's discount, but there are also some extra courses provided. And there are a lot of weights and a lot of machines. There are like treadmills, rotopedes, and all these stuff, and you can go there basically from 5 a.m. until 11 p.m. whatever time you want, because you get your card and you can get access whatever time you want. And the classes are also throughout the day. I would say I pay probably a bit more because of these classes of my friends. They pay around 290 or something.
Yeah, Visby gym is cheaper, but they don't do classes, but there is all the free weights and there's the machines, and you can go there 24/7, so it just depends on what your interests are. If you love classes, then you might have to pay a bit more to kind of have that experience. For me, the Visby gym is fine, because yeah, I don't need that, so I just go to the free weights and then like the different machines and stuff.
And as well, if you like exercising outside, here are, like, I saw 3 outside gyms.
Oh,
2 of
yeah.
them are by
Great.
the sea and 1 of them in park, so it's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Sweden's known for having just outside gyms everywhere. I think there's one like 500 meters from my house. It's quite nice. Was studying in Sweden the right decision for you personally?
Mhm.
Ooh.
For me, it was I came to Sweden wanting to learn more about Scandinavian culture. I'd never been to one of the Scandi countries, and as well, Sweden is kind of known for its efforts in the sustainability space, and so it was kind of a natural fit, and I'm really happy with how it's kind of turned out. I've met really great people, and I've just had a really nice experience throughout it. So for me, I'm definitely happy with my decision to come to Sweden to study.
Yeah, I'd say basically the same. I mean, it's really nice here, and it's also nice that I'm part Swedish, so I'm kind of rediscovering a lot of what I've forgotten since I've moved away from there. So it's been, I mean, it's lovely, and I really like Gotland as an island. It's just a really nice place to be.
And as well, Sweden has a really good education system, so that's why I personally came here, and I really like it. And extra bonus was cool people and nice experiences.
How important is the coding part for game design, and is it possible to see that being a good game designer if you didn't have a lot of coding experience? Yes, it is. It's really, I mean, we're all majoring in game design, and we're minoring in we're minoring in programming. So from my side, at least, when I came here, I came with nothing, and now I've learned a ton just from what I've had to do for my groups and stuff. And it's, I mean, as I said before, it's as much as you want to put into it. So I know a lot of people here have just dedicated their lives to learning coding, and I've become incredible at it. But for myself, I've been reading more into the game design and been more interested in that too. So it's totally possible to do that. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, we can't help with the game design
Yeah.
questions.
Sorry.
When does the study year end? Is there any longer holiday seasons during the study year?
Mm,
It ends around June, and there's
Yeah,
a big
beginning of
holiday.
June.
Yeah, beginning of
Yeah.
June, and then there's a holiday basically for winter, about 3 or 4 weeks long.
Ours was shorter.
yeah, well,
Ours
you
was-
you basically have to create your own
Yeah.
holidays because our break was between probably like 20th of December until 7th of January, but we still had assignments we needed to work on a bit during this break. So for us, it didn't apply that much. But let's say that we are just 1 year students, so that's why we probably had a bit higher workload.
Mm.
Well, we had the same situation, except I know at least from my side, a lot of people left early because they knew that the work kind of winds down, at least for the
Mhm.
bachelor studies that we were in. So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who took like, they left on like the 4th of December and they took like a 1 month break and they didn't really care.
Cool. Yeah, and yeah. So I'm coming from an Irish system where we're just like reading weeks and midterms and all these kinds of things. You don't really have that in the Swedish system. You do, yeah, as we said, like winter, summer, and then there's kind of an Easter break as well.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it depends on your course, of course, but yeah.
And on the professor as well. It's all about communication actually.
In
as well.
game design, it's mostly about, like, it's all about assignments. There's no required classes and there's no, like, things that you have to do necessarily in class. And as I said, it's all about what you make of it, so you can take longer breaks if you want to, basically. But you have to do stuff. Do we have to pay for the books? Yes.
You
I mean, you do, yeah.
There's some funding available, I believe, for Swedish students.
Discounts.
If they're part of certain unions and these kinds of things. But as an international student, yeah, you do. For me, I didn't. Like in terms of, you have the library, of course. Then there's lots of good ebooks in case it's not in the library. And if you're just kind of thrifty, which I try to be, you can kind of avoid it. But if you really love to have a book that you hold and you want to write notes into and stuff, then yeah, you'll definitely have to invest, and it can be kind of expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their books are usually like 800 Swedish crowns because course books are very expensive because they don't sell or they don't produce that many of them. Like
Yeah, for game design, we have a lot of our stuff on PDF, and a lot of it's like articles and stuff that are free to use. I've only had to buy one book, and that was for a math class I took here, and I didn't really need it. So I mean, it's up to you whether you want to spend or not. Are there places that can be visited by students during their breaks? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to Stockholm and chill there. And there's a lot of places in Gotland that would be interesting to go.
Yeah.
We did did you guys go on the bus tour?
Yeah.
we were,
Yeah.
we hung out.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the bus
climbed
tour,
rocks.
we did, yeah. If you go on the bus tour, you can go and see all the places, and they talk about a lot of different places you can go and see. So there's definitely, I mean, if you have a car, if you take the bus, or if you have a bike and you're kind of willing to do that, then there's a lot of places you can go.
you can also rent a car.
Yeah.
It's 400 Swedish crowns per day. So if you would share it with a couple of your friends, then it's fine.
And the airport is super close. If you want to go to like London or London.
I
Or
mean, you could, but it's
I went to London.
Okay,
It was
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
London, Denmark, or Sweden is where it flies out to, basically. Flights are pretty cheap too. Do you enjoy the winters, and what do you do other than studying during the winter season?
I personally don't enjoy winters because there is not enough daylight for me. But what we did, we apart from studies, we watched a lot of movies. We also had a lot of dinners together, and we were just let's say we were studying and just hanging out together because as well as all around Europe or Nordic countries, the winter is very long, so there isn't that much to do. You can't spend that much time outside because it just gets really cold. But we were trying to create our own good time.
Yeah. You have to just invest in candles and blankets and just kind of hibernate.
Or you can go to cinema as well if you want.
For myself, I really enjoy the winters. I was outside quite a bit when it snowed, and we had a lot of snowball fights, and we built some stuff. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was
you
fun,
can build
yeah.
a snowman or something.
There's actually like a hill that runs through all of Visby, and if you're really daring, you can try to take a sled down it.
Yeah, all the kids do it. It's really cute.
Or you can also
Yeah.
or you can also go cross country skiing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's a really good one. Yeah, that's one thing we did. That was really nice. It was something I hadn't heard of before coming to Sweden. I'd obviously heard of alpine skiing, where you kind of are on top of a mountain and you go down, but Gotland is really, really flat. There's no mountains here, and so they have cross-country skiing, where it's literally like cross-country running but on skis, and it was really fun. I kind of picked it up quick enough, and yeah, it's definitely something I'd recommend doing.
Or you can go swimming as well. I go swimming.
How are international students made to feel welcome?
Yes.
From the day one, I met my course director. She was literally, as we entered the university, she was there, and I shook her hand, and then she took us up to the class, which was so nice. I have never gotten that in any university I'd studied in before. So she made a really big effort, which I really appreciated. And talking to other internationals, I know they do make an effort, because you are coming from a different place to this island. So at least from my experience, I was definitely made to feel welcome.
Yeah, or we had on the orientation day, we had breakfast together, and also we had a breakfast together during our very first class, because we had a chance to meet our future professors and to talk to them and get to know each other, which was actually really nice.
On the first day, I think all the international students, we went on this like big tour together. And we went through the library and went through other stuff, and we met all the prospective teachers, and we all got to kind of socialize, and it was really good. I mean, you feel really welcome when you come here. First day, felt really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
How much is the transportation cost to travel in Gotland? Is it like Stockholm SL, around 800 kroner a month? I guess it depends on what you mean by travel. You can take the buses, you can bike, you can walk, you can rent a car, as you said.
Yeah, I think I've paid a grand total of like 0 kroner on transport here, because I live within the city walls, and try your best to try and find some sort of accommodation within the walls or just outside of the walls, like maybe 20 minutes walking kind of, because it makes such a difference in the winter. The public transport isn't that great if you're living like half an hour or beyond kind of, and you need to kind of commute by car or bus. It's not something to really rely on, especially during the winter months. So I try and avoid relying on public transport.
And you also save a lot of money, because
So
it's not, as far as I know, it's not that cheap. I don't know how much exactly, but it's not that cheap.
Yeah.
Is there any student support for studying skills improving in the campus? For game design, well, at least for programming, we had a lot of like code camps together with some of the teachers, and then as well we set up a couple of extracurricular things that we could do together. So we would get together and we'd go through like some Unity tutorials for like making a ball roll around. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot.
I've seen a writing workshop kind of tutorial kind of posted around the place. I didn't make use of it, so I can't really recommend it or not. And in general, the supervisors and the teachers here and lecturers, they're quite good at finding time to meet up with you. If you're not quite sure about a certain concept, they can kind of bring you through it and talk you through it. But for me, a big thing is just being kind of peer-to-peer learning, and like learning from everyone in the course.
Yes.
At least from the programming perspective, we have these groups on it's called Slack. It's kind of like Discord, where you can create groups and talk to people. Where if we have questions about programming or other game design, I know people will post. And I know for at least us, we have like Discords where people post their art and look for feedback, and we're also open about our games that we're making. And we're all playtesting it all the time, so that at least that will help, I hope. But other than that, we are all out of questions.
Oh, cool!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't too long and too. I know there was a lot there, so
We just
hopefully-
enjoy talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully you managed to get something out of it.
But thank you so much for listening, and I hope we did a good job for your questions. And
Best of luck with your studies.
yeah, I
Yeah.
hope to see you guys next. At least I'll see you guys next year.
Yeah,
if you
I
go.
won't. I'll be finishing up in June.
But we hope that you will have a great time here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Best
Bye.
of luck.
Bye.
Hey, Dua.
Oh yeah.